So now let's talk about functions. And functions are written in a similar way where we declare what they are first. So we say func to declare a function. Then we give it a name. So I'll call this my function. And then we put some parentheses here. And then the function is contained within curly braces. So a function is an action that you can think of that's executed anytime that we call a function. And the function component is that we have the declaration, the name of the function, and then we have what are called arguments or parameters that are given here. We also would have return values given here. And then lastly, we have the actual function itself, so the code that goes in here. And all of that code is contained between these two curly braces. Built into your application, you already have several functions. For example, the viewDidLoad function is run at the beginning of every view whenever the view controller loads. Here's a function that we have called switchPressed, and it's asking for an argument called sender, which we don't actually have a sender in this case, so any, and then we give it some code here to work through. So if we look at something like, let's write a quick little function that asks for arguments. So maybe we'll ask for an argument called string or str. I'll say string. I'll just give this a number or something to make sure that it doesn't conflict. So it's asking for a string, and then we're going to have a return of, let's say, something like an int. So we'll return a number. So then within the so what this is asking for is that basically whenever we execute this function, we're gonna be asking for some sort of value, and then later after the function is done, we're going to return a value and pull it back out of there. So you've read about this already in your book, but I'll quickly go through it. So let's write a function that says like if str equals hi, then return 5, otherwise return 1. Okay, so what that basically means is whenever we run this function and we feed it a string, if that string isn't equal to hi, we're going to return 1, and if it is equal to hi, then we're going to return 5. So if we say execute my function, we have to give it some arguments, so let's give it a string that's like bah. And then let's give another version of my function, and we give it a string hi. Let's run these and see what we get over here on the side. So the first one returns 1 because this is not equal to this, and so it didn't return 5, it returned 1. And the second one is equal to 5 because we fed it this string that says hi, and it returns 5. So functions can be, obviously they're very complicated and we can get a lot more in depth with it, but basically they're just, pieces of actions that are run that we can use over and over again, and that we can give all these parameters and all these arguments to, and then we can pull values out of them.